Okay. In this interview question, it is in a large scale application, how would you design the cluster to handle a large number of service deployments? This is one of a frequently asked interview question. So first I'll give you a short answer and then we will try to go dig deeper inside and we will try to discuss. Okay. See, basically what we are supposed to do is we need to segment our workloads across like multiple namespaces. And in K8s, there is a concept called as node pools. We need to use node pools with labels so that we can segregate the resources based on their workloads. And we should also make sure that we will implement proper horizontal scaling strategies. Okay, and this should be implemented for both control plane and worker nodes. All right, and also there is a concept called as load shedding. We need to implement even that one as well, and this is applicable for multi-cluster setups where you work on extremely large workloads, mainly when you work with large scale banking applications, or nowadays when you work with machine learning based applications. So, in such kind of scenarios, you will have to do these things. All right. So this is the answer for this question. Let's try to understand. Let's try to have a quick breakdown. Okay. So first I'll talk about the workload segmentation across these namespaces. All right. So I will come here. Where is my paint? Yeah, we have paint here. Okay. See, basically, if you see, I have T1, T2, T3. So this is trial environment 1, trial environment 2, and trial environment 3. Okay. So basically what namespace does is namespace in Kubernetes will provide a kind of logical isolation for your workloads. So if you want to manage your resources and if you want to allocate security policies based on your project structures, right, you can do it. In for this specific question, right, we need to make sure that so for example, like each team or project or service groups, they can be assigned to their individual namespaces, and also we can make sure that we can implement resource quotas. So resource quotas in the sense, see, you have these three different namespaces, right? So each namespace can have its own resources. So this can have a specific set of CPU and memory utilizations, and this can have a separate CPU and memory utilization. This can have a separate CPU and memory utilization. Like that, we can define it in your Kubernetes manifest files itself. Okay, and also we can create a proper network isolations as well. So this can come under a separate network, and similarly this can come under a separate network policy, and this can come under a separate network policy. So basically we can isolate the network policies also. For example, let's assume you are working in a company and you have multiple clients who are trialing your applications. So at that point of time, with the help of these namespaces, right, you can create separate trial environments, and based on their subscription plans for the trial environments, right, you can assign a specific resource and limits. Okay, that is something which you can do it, and then we have this node pool level. I mean, like isolation, which we are supposed to do. So with respect to node pools, in the sense, these are the main servers which host your pods, all these things in K8s. Okay, so what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to group I mean like node pools with similar configurations. So let's assume you have a node group or node pool. Okay, and these two environments have like similar configurations. You can basically bring them under here, or else if not that, you are basically, let's assume you have are multiple resources. For one needs like high memory, and one needs like GPU, and one is like general purpose. So what we can do is we can create like multiple nodes, one with the GPU instance, one with the general purpose like T2 micro or something like that, and one with high memory with H type instances, and we need to configure labels for these node pools. Okay, so basically there is a concept of labels. We need to enable labels for these node pools, and through that, so basically we can make sure that, okay, we can make sure that whatever the resources that we run, right, only those specific, for if there is a machine learning mod training which is running, so that will run only on this specific GPU node. Okay, so such kind of settings are something which we are supposed to do. And also in the control plane side, so if you are using any cloud providers control plane, like, I mean, you don't have to worry much, but let's assume you are managing your own control plane in such kind of scenarios, right? So we need to implement control plane scaling as well. Okay, basically it does the schedule management, the state management, all those things. So because of that, we need to implement proper scaling with the help of like horizontal scaling policies, right? We need to scale our control plane for high availability. And for worker node scalings, I mean, like, there is a concept called as there is not a concept, there is a service called as cluster auto scaler, uh, cluster auto scaler. Okay, we need to use that, so that, I mean, like, these nodes are there, right? They will scale in and scale out based on the load or which is there on top of your applications. Based on the demand, you can basically scale these number of nodes. For example, if the load on the GPU machine is increasing, then you can add one more GPU machine with the help of cluster autoscaler. Okay, you can scale specifically these specific nodes. So such kind of things are something which we are supposed to do. And the last part is like the load shedding. Load shedding is something, as I already mentioned, right? So I mean, for example, let's assume you are working on a banking application where you have enabled a payment service, and you need to, I mean, like, when you implement load shedding, what you do is you basically shed the less critical operations. For example, if you are doing some analytics operations or all those things, right? So you will basically shed all these analytics operations, and then you will make sure that the core transaction operations are there, right? They will be processed first. So that is what, like, we try to do in load shedding. And we can implement load shedding with the help of this ingress, yeah, I mean, like, ingress controller, service mesh, all these things are there. So through them we can implement proper load shedding. So yeah, this is how you need to answer for this specific question. If you are not clear about any specific concept that I explained for this question, please post it in comment section.